This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along. Well,
welcome along to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this Friday, October 25. Goodness gracious, can't believe we're that far into October. It's almost November, man. Can't believe it, but it's a big day. It's a Friday. Always a big day here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Normally joined by the Todd Father, Todd Leary. He can't be with us today. That's okay. We've got a special guest to replace him. How about Rashard Fant, one of the great defensive players for Indiana the last couple of years, as they head into a big contest with Nebraska this weekend. Rashard Fant will join us. Looking forward to see what he's up to as he tries to further his pro career. A lot of football to talk about. We got a lot of basketball to talk about, too. Before I get to that, Tom Brew's going to be with us as well from Sports Illustrated Indiana. We're going to hear from Tom Allen. We got a lot to get to on the program today here on this Friday, but nothing bigger than the visit by Dawson Garcia, who is making his visit to Indiana basketball this weekend, as he is their number one target, no doubt, without question. This is the recruit that Archie Miller needs to land. To me, personally, this will be the second biggest recruit outside of Romeo that he has landed, if he could get that done, because of what he means to this class. I know that a lot of IU fans they seem to be very happy with the job that Archie Miller's doing. I'm not sure why. It has not equated to wins. It has not equated to great recruiting classes, but it is what it is. But this would make this particular recruiting class a really, really good one. You take a decent recruiting class and you make it spectacular with a guy that Indiana desperately needs. I've talked about it here on this program. If you listen to the show every day, you know I've talked about it ad nauseum. But Indiana needs to land a big guy in this class, because if not, you're looking at potentially having no one but Race Thompson left other than freshmen coming in 2 years from now. It is imperative that Indiana lands somebody, but not just for that reason, if that's not big enough a reason, but Indiana is not hitting the elite button right now, and they need to do something to change that. Archie Miller has to land some guys. Tom Crean's landing people at Georgia. Come on, man. Georgia is in a weak SEC. Georgia is a weak program, but yet Tom Crean is landing talent. It can be done, even at schools that are not as successful as Indiana. But Indiana needs to get this done. I think this is a very important recruit for Archie Miller in so many ways, but it will cap off a recruiting class and give it exquisite balance. It will also give it a front court future, I guess I should say. I think Indiana's in a great position for Dawson Garcia. As a matter of fact, if Marquette does not get a return visit outside of this, when he leaves Bloomington, I think that he ends up attending Indiana University. Now, this is all a guess. There has been a lot of chatter going on in the last couple of days. If I had to say leading up to this, the favorite would probably have been Marquette. From everything I've heard, read, seen, talked to people about, they had maybe a slight advantage. And then all of a sudden the winds seemed to change. I posted on Twitter yesterday that the winds were howling in the morning, that particular morning. Because I got a couple texts within minutes of each other, unrelated, totally unrelated, both saying kind of the same thing, which I found to be enlightening, I guess you'd say. It seemed that the winds had shifted and that maybe things were looking up for Indiana. I mean, if you're comparing, if these are the final two, Marquette and Indiana, I don't think that there's a question. I mean, first of all, you look at the programs, there's no comparison there. Indiana is far and away a superior program. But even looking in the future, Marcus Howard, yeah, they got him, but they lost the brothers, man. And I don't get what's up with that. Why'd you lose a pair of such a really good pair of players, brothers, whatever? But those guys were skilled. So not sure what was going on with that. But regardless of that, then you look at the fact that you can play in the Big Ten, currently with the number one ranked team in the country. The Big Ten year in, year out is just one of the best conferences there is in all of college athletics, basketball, football, doesn't matter. But so, to me, Indiana has the advantage in a lot of ways right there. North Carolina's already signed some guys in his position, so they're out. Memphis is not even, they don't have a commitment, I think, for 220. They're in a weird situation. I think Indiana's in a pretty good spot here. I mean, we're going to find out, of course. But I for as far as just a gut feeling, I think Indiana's in pretty good shape here. Now, it may not work out that way. I put a post up yesterday, like I said, that the winds have changed. My gosh, the traffic they got. It just floors me. The fan base, they're so hungry for good news. They're so hungry for good things. And I hope it happens for Indiana basketball, for the fan base this year, for Archie Miller, for the school. They're ready for it, I can tell you that. They are certainly ready for it. But it's not that far away, man. Gannon's not that far away. I think, we look at a week and a half. Plus, we got a great football season going on. Indiana's having a tremendous year right now, standing at 5-2. Off to Nebraska to play the Cornhuskers tomorrow at 3:30. We'll be out there for that. I think this could be a special day for Indiana. This is a game that I think Indiana's the better team. And this is with their backup quarterback, Peyton Ramsey, probably going to be going. I think Indiana's the better team. I really do. It's going to be a difficult situation for Indiana out there. 90,000 fans at Nebraska's Memorial Stadium. That's a tough ask. But I think they're ready, and I think they're ready to take that step. And if so, it'll be the biggest win in Tom Allen's tenure at Indiana. But we'll see how that turns out. Absolutely will. Hey, we got a lot more coming up. Rashard Fant, a former Hoosier, great football player, is with us right now under contract with the Chicago Bears. We're going to talk to Rashard. Also, Tom Brew coming up as well. Stay tuned. We got a lot more here on Indiana Sports Beat. Coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Back with more right after this.
Nothing that would make me change my mind. I would like to start all over again.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this Friday, October 25th. It's not game day, but it feels like game day. And to kick it off, we got Rashard Fant with us, man. Rashard, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, I appreciate you joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat. Big game for Indiana coming up. We'll get to all that, but what's going on, Rashard? How are you? Where are you right now? What's going on? What are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing good right now. I'm currently rehabbing back home in Atlanta, getting ready for the 2020 NFL season. I'll be able to sign with any team once this season's over with, and I'm healthy to go. So just rehabbing for my knee injury, sitting out this year and waiting to get back to it. I've had teams calling all this year, about 6 to 8 teams, and so I'm just trying to get healthy so I can go ahead and work out and be with a new team going into next season.
It's got to be a great feeling to be wanted like that, especially when you're injured and you're down, and those guys are that many teams calling. That's a lot of teams calling, and the Bears, man, they've treated you well as well. That's been a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I'm definitely grateful. You know, I was on injury reserve all last year. I had a great season, and even this year, them giving me permission to go home for this season and just honoring my contract and just, telling me once I get healthy, I'm free to sign after this season and get to go. But they honored it through this season, so I'm grateful for that. Definitely an amazing position, and it does feel great to be wanted. I guess that was my biggest thing, being out basically 2 seasons back to back. I didn't know, with my pec injury from the combine that led to me getting undrafted, and then having this strange knee injury where nothing truly major happened. It's just different, but when teams are still calling, I'm very grateful and just glad that the product I put on the field in college is still holding strong, and teams are interested in me, coming to play for them and showcasing what I can do, especially as a cover corner.
What's the hardest thing about being injured? I mean, that sounds like a dumb question on the surface of it, but there's so many things that go into because of all the things you have to do, the things that you're missing. There's so much. What's the hardest part for you about dealing with an injury?
I think it's a couple of things. I would say one, not being with the guys as much. Even when I was on injury reserve, it was really just rehab, not really going to meetings or anything, kind of letting them focus on the season. And then after that, watching the games. When I first got injured, it was the end of preseason, so I'm like watching all the preseason games. I'm sitting in on meetings, and it's just hard watching all your friends out there, your teammates go to battle, and you want to be out there, especially when you can contribute. And I got off to a great start in training camp the first 2 weeks and was holding my own, running with the twos at nickel. So I was very excited, and now, it's kind of just you injured and you're watching 2 whole seasons. So for me, I kind of like, my friends that were on the team, friends around the NFL, kind of watch them and kind of live vicariously through them and just watch them ball out and root for them big as if I'm on the field playing. So it's great to see. That's the hard part. And then, that's really the toughest part. And then you get the questions all the time. When you go be back, are you healthy yet? And teams asking you too, are you healthy yet? So that's the hardest part about it. But knowing, I'm on this process, I'm just enjoying it. It's part of my journey, part of my story. And in due time, I'll be able to showcase my talents on the field and be very grateful for that moment when it comes.
Talking with Rashard Fant, former Indiana Hoosier football baller on the defensive side. And Rashard, when you're having to deal with all that, and when you first get to the NFL, and a lot of guys want to act like you'll be cool and all that, but there's got to be a starstruck moment. Did you have a moment where you're like, wow, you're obviously a great player in what you do, but when you see somebody that you've watched on TV for all these years, was there ever this starstruck moment where you realize, holy cow, man, I'm here. This is the NFL, man. I'm here.
I would say mine actually came before the draft or combine. I was training in Miami, Florida at Bommarito's Performance down in Aventura, Miami. And, we work there and they have a lot of great guys. And I'm walking in and Antonio Brown's there. LaShawn McCoy is right there. So you got big-time guys coming all the time. And I'm just looking and I'm like, man, it's crazy. Like, the Antonio Brown really got me. I'm like, this is Antonio Brown. This is crazy, like one of the best. And then you watch him work out. Allen Robinson was there, and even though I've seen him play in college my freshman year, it's still like this is Allen Robinson. And Tyreek Hill ended up coming. So, it's NFL guys coming in and out of there and big-time stars. And I'm just like, man, this is like real crazy. I'm really here with these guys. And my agency, the Sports and Entertainment Group, we have a lot of big-time signees with Jordan Howard, Tevin, who came from IU, obviously, and then you got the Stephon Diggs and James White. So many guys, and I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. But also I'm like, wow, I'm really here. Like, this is crazy. I can't believe this. So the first month of NFL combine training for me and pro day training, I kind of was just like, wow, I'm here with these guys. This is ridiculous. I didn't know what to say. But then after a while, you get used to it. It's like, when you're in college, you start struck with the guys at first, like, man, I'm in college football, but then you get used to it, and that's how it was for me. So I just started to get excited, taking all the knowledge that I could while I was around them. And once I got on the field with people, it was just crazy to be there and just, kind of just appreciate the talent that's all around you.
Antonio Brown's he's had an interesting season.
Yeah, definitely. I hate to see it. I hope he figures it all out, gets it worked out. You never want to wish bad on anybody, but at the same time, you don't want anybody hurt in the process on either side. So hopefully, he can figure stuff out, and if he's innocent, he can, do his thing, get back on the field, and enjoy, himself, because he's definitely a generational talent.
Now, do you get the opportunity? I know right now you're rehabbing, but when you were there in around the teams and whatnot, did you get an opportunity to run across any other former Hoosiers that are playing in the league?
Yeah, the big one, Rob McCray, when we played Kansas City when he was there. Jay Howe was my teammate that first year, so I was with him actually a lot. He let me stay with him throughout the summer, so I didn't have to always stay at the hotel, so that was nice of him. And then, Tigre is my best friend out of everybody that came from IU, so we talk 24/7. I'm always watching him, supporting him, and Semi when he was with the Redskins and then with the Saints, and now he's training. So it's always nice. I see Tevin all the time just because when he was with the Falcons, and then we had the same agent, so at our agency retreat. So all the guys, man, it's always great to see those guys doing well, and the ones you just watch on TV, and then, watching Ian Thomas and watching Nate or Suddy, as we call him. So it's amazing to see those guys you worked so hard with in college, tried to change the program with, and they're doing well for themselves in the NFL and making plays.
Yeah, there's quite a few guys out of the last couple of years from Indiana that are playing in the league right now.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not surprised at all. Even though the results haven't always been we wanted, and I think that honestly has kept the number from being higher than it was, and I think with this year's team, that will change. Like, you see the talent. You got Wap up and coming, Michael Penix on their redshirt freshman, and then you got Stevie Scott in the backfield, who's going to be a future NFL back, with Nick Westbrook and D. Hell on the outsides, who are NFL caliber receivers. So, the talent level is ridiculous over there, and especially everyone on that team. So I can't wait to see as the team continues to win, and I'm expecting them to go ahead and rip off. 10-plus wins this year is what we're going for. He's going to finish the season undefeated, get this first bowl game win in, I think 10 years it is, maybe 20. Actually, no, I think it's like 20 years. So I can't wait for those guys to finish strong, and I know they'll do that and get to a bowl game and, get a win.
Rashard throwing it down. They've got a good season going, and the funny thing is they've done this with dueling quarterbacks, and not because of a quarterback issue, but obviously because of an injury. Michael Penix Jr. getting injured a couple times. Right now, we don't know who's going to be the quarterback. Honestly, I feel confident that it's going to be Peyton Ramsey this Saturday at Nebraska. But the funny thing is, Kalen DeBoer has done a phenomenal job with guys like you, all those guys you just mentioned. You laid it out. They've got such a cadre of receivers and backs, and this offense, man, they're really plugging along, and they can do something really special this Saturday. They take on the Cornhuskers in Lincoln, Nebraska. And the funny thing is, Rashard, the line on that game has gone back and forth. Vegas, rarely do I see a line move like that. But one day Indiana was the favorite. The next day Nebraska was the favorite. Then it was back to Indiana. Then it was back to Nebraska. It's a back and forth game, and this is going to be a huge game for the Hoosiers. One that I think is very winnable.
Oh, definitely. I agree with you, and I think with the quarterback situation, it's amazing to have two talented quarterbacks. You know, I've played with Peyton. He's a quarterback my last year, and his leadership ability, his accuracy, you know, guys really follow him, gravitate to him. So that's why you don't really see a drop-off. The only thing, you know, you might say Penix's arm is stronger and, you know, he can run a little faster. But there's some things, you know, I think that help Peyton when he's out there. The leadership Penix definitely has, but I think when you're older, you know, it's just for Peyton, he has it even more to a higher extent. So I think both quarterbacks are amazing. You know, having Penix out there is great. He's been a beast this year, and he's only going to continue to get better. And then you see why Peyton was the starter for 2 years, and, you know, why Coach Allen talks so highly of him, and why the guys, you know, love him so much, and how there's no drop-off. So no matter who the quarterback is, I have faith in the guys, and I can't wait to continue to see them grow and continue to see them, you know, knock out these victories.
They traveled to Lincoln, Nebraska. There's a lot of iconic places in the Big Ten, Rashard. Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan. You know, those stadiums are all 100,000 seat stadiums. And in Lincoln, Nebraska, not quite 100, but it's 90,000 people. But one of those iconic teams of when everyone was growing up, Nebraska is always one of those teams that you saw on TV and all that. But this is a great opportunity because Indiana has, like I said, the spread itself, it jumped back and forth. Indiana's been favored at times, but my honest opinion is I think Indiana's the better team, and I think they win this game, which that's going to be the biggest win in Tom Allen's coaching career.
No, I mean, definitely. It's a big game, but, you know, Coach Allen would always say it's a big game because it's the next game, and that is true. And, you know, with this victory that I believe they'll have, you know, you reach bowl eligibility the earliest I think we have in years, which would be amazing for them. And then also, it's a historic big win. You know, I've played Nebraska once, never at Nebraska, but it's always good to beat a program of that caliber and, you know, with that historic value. And, you know, on paper, with the records, I would say that IU's better. But, you know, like anything, each and every day you got to prove it. And I think those guys, from talking to the ones that are my friends still, and then to some of the coaches, like, each day is a new day, and you got to go out there and prove it each and every Saturday, and that's what they've been doing. So I can't continue to wait to watch them, you know, keep going and keep growing stronger and having more confidence since they're such a young team as well.
Yeah, and this team's a young team. You mentioned Michael Penix Jr. He's a redshirt freshman, but they've got so many. 80 out of the 113 kids on this team are underclassmen. That's got to be, I don't want to say difficult, but, man, that's different. Most teams are made up of more of a blend. So to see them having the success they are, to see what they almost got it done in East Lansing at Michigan State, a game they almost pulled out. But to play with the moxie they played with, it's kind of it's wild to see.
Yeah, no, I think it just definitely, you know, they're growing in confidence, and sometimes being young is you don't know any better, you know, like you don't care about what you've heard. You haven't been on the field, so you're not, you know, worried about anything. Sometimes if you've played and you kind of are maybe a negative person, you kind of think, like, we haven't beat these teams in a while, or, man, this player is one of the best in the conference. But when you're young, you're kind of trying to prove yourself. You don't care about whoever else is being talked about. You just want to go show the world why you're one of the best as well. I think that's what they're doing, and they've been putting on the show. And, being competitive, and as they continue to be in those close games like the Michigan State, you'll see them next time they're in the close one, they'll be able to finish it and come out with them. And I watched that game from beginning to end and thought they had it, but, sometimes they were a young team, and we had this problem as well, too. We just, at the end of games, whether it's fatigue, whether it's just making a mental error because of being tired or being young, you learn and you grow from it. But at the end of the day, I think this team's even different than some of the teams we've had all around, and they're healthy, which is the name of the game. And all my seasons, we've always had big-time injuries or a lot of people playing injured. So one thing, if this team could stay healthy, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, your senior year, this team was so good defensively. I mean, they were one of the best in the conference and one of the better in the country, if you want to be truthful. But you guys did some amazing things, and there's some players that have come along, young guys like Tywan Mullen. Man, it's got to be fun to watch a guy like that's that young get out there and play with that reckless abandon to be so as good as he is.
No, definitely. It's another corner. Part of, we haven't had a lot of great corners in the history of IU. I know when I got there, my goal, I heard Tracy Porter, and to be able to leave IU and people mention my name with Tracy Porter and statistically being one of the best cornerbacks ever coming out of IU and coming out the Big Ten was definitely a blessing. And now seeing him at this early doing what he's doing, the mindset that he has, how he goes each and every day and just goes to work, on game day, locks up receivers, is beautiful to see, especially because I think he's about 5'10", 170, 175, so he's a smaller guy like I was, but it doesn't matter. You can play football, and he's definitely a baller and a shutdown corner. So, I mean, he has 2 more years or 3 more years to continue to show and improve and show what he can do, and I see a bright future for him too.
Yeah, he has some great tutelage growing up. His brother plays for the Oakland Raiders. He went to Clemson, now is with the Raiders, and his cousin is some dude named Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I think that is some great genes to have in your family and great people to be able to talk to. I'm familiar with his brother because one of my good friends, A.J. Terrell, plays for Clemson, who's their All-American corner now starting. So, I grew up with A.J., so I watched him play and I saw him, and he's a great corner as well, and you can tell. T. Mullen is definitely bred from that same group, and he'll just continue to get better, and, his brother will help him with that as well, with that advice and telling him what it's like and what to look for, and I'm sure he's always looking to gain more knowledge.
Rashard, will you have the opportunity to come back to any of the games this year? I know you're rehabbing and working down in Atlanta, but will you get back to any of the games?
Yeah, so I actually came to the Ohio State game, came there, watched it, it's a tough one, but you have those sometimes, but definitely enjoyed, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to any more regular season games, but if the guys make it to a bowl game, especially if they end up somewhere like Nashville, Tennessee, I would definitely be there because that's nothing but a 3.5, 4-hour drive for me. So I'm hoping these guys, just finish strong, get a great bowl game, and, I can't wait. If they're in Florida or in Tennessee, I definitely will be making an appearance.
It's funny you say Nashville, man. I've been pulling it all year long. I want to see Indiana in the Music City Bowl in Nashville, and I'd love to see them against Kentucky. How much fun would that be?
Oh, no, that would be amazing. I think a lot of people would. I know Kentucky's not as strong as they have been the past 2 years, but, I think historically, obviously, that would be amazing. But I know those guys just focused and can't wait, and whatever opponent awaits them, they'll be ready to go.
Have you been following the Big Ten race much this year?
I've been following some, especially with Justin Fields transferring from Georgia, going to Ohio State, and then seeing them in person, and then Penn State still being good right now. I know a lot of people, they lost, Trace last year, Saquon. So they've lost some people with these last 2 years, and I know it's kind of been like, can Coach Franklin sustain it? And they have been. They're 6th in the country right now, and Michigan's been up and down, having offensive struggles, as normally is the case for them. So I've definitely been watching it. Saw Wisconsin, or actually watched them get upset by Illinois last week. So, I mean, it's been crazy, as it always is in the Big Ten, and I'm interested to see how it is. And honestly, with just 2 Big Ten losses right now for IU, they're still in the race, because Ohio State still has Wisconsin to play coming up, Michigan to play in a rivalry. I think they still got Penn State. So you never know what can happen if these guys just keep their heads down and keep grinding and pull out these victories.
Man, you're pretty good at this media thing.
I've been lucky enough to have some great people throughout my years in college, and I just enjoy it, man. We talking ball, having fun, just, enjoying it. It's, definitely a sport I love and love to watch and be around. So I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying watching these guys. So I can't wait.
Yeah, I have Mitchell Page is on with us quite a bit. He was just on the other day, a good buddy, great friend of the show, and he's been kind of my go-to guy. But man, you're pretty good. I'm gonna have to tell Mitch. I'm like going, Mitch, you got to move over, man. Rashard's not doing too bad. He's pretty good.
Oh man, Mitchell not gonna let me have it. He gonna come with the best show of his life. Yeah, I saw Page when I was there too. So he's one of kind of like the vets for me when I was there. He's a great guy.
And it's fun. You guys had some great guys, man, go through the time you were there. Like Mitchell Page, a great guy, great friend of the show, and like yourself, very, very educated in the game. Really, really can talk so well about the game. And not everybody can do that. But both you guys are the same in that manner.
Thank you. I think it's just, a testament to the dedication we had. And I think especially us both being smaller players, that mental really was important for us, to try to find another edge and also challenging each other. I had to go up against him every day for 3 years. So that was big for us, and I know those were big parts of our game, the mental aspect.
Rashard, if you can't make it to the games, we'll keep you in contact. We'll keep you up to date. Just follow Indiana Sports Beat, but we're going to get you back on here. We may have to do this weekly, man, as this season progresses and falls out, because I think it's going to be a pretty special season for the Hoosiers. I think they go to Nebraska. I think they get this win, man. I really do. I'm not saying that trying to be a homer, because if people listen to the show, they know I'm not a homer. But I think Indiana gets this win, and then they go on next week and they get another win. They're at 7 wins before you know it, and that's going to be crazy with 4 games left to play.
No, I definitely agree. I'm IU through and through, and I believe these guys, it's a special season for them, and they'll get this W this weekend and then focus on who they have next weekend. And I actually knew who they have, but I forgot now because I've just been focused on Nebraska. So I can't wait to see.
Northwestern.
Yes, back to back. So that's who it is, and I hope they knock out this one and then their focus, take their attention to Northwestern and just keep it moving 1 week at a time, which is all they can do. But I'm with you this week. I'm taking them against Nebraska, and I can't wait, and know the guys will enjoy honestly being in that historic venue.
Rashard Fant, I cannot thank you enough, man. This has been a blast, and I really look forward to doing this again soon.
No, me as well. Thank you so much. It's been a blast. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. That's Rashard Fant, former Hoosier great, now currently a Chicago Bear. We got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this Friday. I hope you've had a great week. October 25th. I can't believe we're almost through October. Joined now by Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated Indiana. Tom, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, Jim. Happy third Friday to you now. It's the last Friday in October. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
I cannot believe we're almost through October, and we're more than halfway through this football season. And not only that, but we're talking about Indiana football. It is a subject of matter. Indiana stands at 5-2, and they go on the road this week to Nebraska, looking at bowl eligibility and a very, very real possibility, not only of achieving that, but achieving it at a very iconic place.
Well, it's going to be tremendous. I've watched a lot of football on TV from Lincoln, but I've never been there myself. I'm really looking forward to the road trip out there this weekend. It could be a special week for the Hoosiers. I mean, it's one thing to get to 6 wins and be bowl eligible, and that's all good and well. But that was never the goal of this team. The first goal that they created this year was to win their bowl game. So they took getting to 6 wins as a given, and so to be able to go to Lincoln and do that would be a huge thing. And this Nebraska team, quite frankly, they got all sorts of problems, and times have changed enough, and written about it a lot this week that here's Indiana. They can go into Lincoln and be favored and have a very good chance to win. And it's Saturday, 3:30 Eastern time. Can't get there soon enough for me.
Well, it's a similar situation to last week. Indiana goes on the road to play a Maryland team who they were on paper, they were a better team than, and everyone expected Indiana to win, although Maryland put up a fight. They were not going to just give that up that easily, and that's going to be the same with Nebraska. Nebraska is a team that's kind of a wounded animal, and Indiana is kind of on the uprise, but Nebraska is not going to just roll over and die. It's going to be a dogfight in a typical Big Ten battle.
No question. I'm sure it's going to come down to who makes the most plays late in the fourth quarter. But what I like about Indiana in this game is that is what they do well is what Nebraska is not doing well right now. And I think Indiana has a chance to take advantage of a lot of things, and and they can go out there. And to me, and I've talked about this and written about it a lot this week. I think the fact that Indiana had a road game last week at Maryland and played well and found a way to win will help them immensely as a carryover going to Nebraska this weekend, because now they know they can do it. And I think that's a huge thing. Well, with Indiana football, it's all about the psyche. It's all about, changing that culture and that mindset that Tom Allen has preached since he got here. And the one thing they could never do is win close games. And the one thing they can never do is win close games on the road. And they did that last week. So I think if what they learned from last week and also, most importantly, how good it felt, to win a game on the road, they'll be able to take that with them to Lincoln. And when things get tight late, I don't think they'll panic, and I think they'll find a way to come through and make it, find a way to win a game and come back home to Bloomington 6-2.
And this is a big game for a lot of reasons. We just talked about becoming bowl eligible, obviously one of those. But winning a Big Ten road game, this will be back-to-back Big Ten road wins if they can get that done. And then winning it at a place like Nebraska. Nebraska is a place that, for any of us that have any age on us at all, we grew up watching Nebraska play Oklahoma and Texas and all those teams on TV, on that CBS Game of the Week with Brent Musburger and all that. We grew up watching that, and while Nebraska is not that team of old right now, it's still an iconic place, and it would be an incredible win for Tom Allen and this football program.
Sure. I mean, Nebraska is one of only 7 teams in the country to ever win 900 games or more. I mean, they are among the elite, and in my lifetime, since 1970, they've won 5 national championships, and I've had the pleasure of being at 2 games, where they didn't, where they had bowl games where they could have won. I mean, they have, we talk a lot about what Alabama's done, in these, in this last decade of dominance. Nebraska's been the same way. I mean, they've won 5 national championships and they played for 4 others. They're just that dominant of a program. And here all of a sudden now, when we fast forward and we turn the clock to October 26, 2019, here's little old Indiana, the team with the most Division I losses in the history of college football, going into Lincoln, with a chance to win, with the expectation of winning, and that's how times have changed. And that's just, it's a wonderful thing if you root for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, and I've talked about the point spread on this game all week, and not from a betting standpoint, but just from an aspect of looking of what the opinions of this game must be, because the point spread has changed hands 2 different times, 2 different ways. It opened up Indiana as a favorite. It switched over to Nebraska as the favorite. It went back to Indiana. And then currently, right now, Nebraska is a 2.5-point favorite. I've never seen a point spread go back and forth like that for any game ever. And that just shows you how balanced I think this game is going to be. But to be having that conversation about Indiana going to Nebraska, that's a feather in the hat for the Indiana football program.
Sure, and I've seen it 1,000 times, so it does happen. And I think what's weird about this game is that with Indiana, we don't know who the quarterback is going to be. Michael Penix got banged up last week. Peyton Ramsey came in, finished the game. Indiana's been very quiet about Michael Penix's health. So we don't know. But it's the same thing with Nebraska. I mean, Adrian Martinez got hurt 2 weeks ago in their game with Minnesota. Didn't play. They're a mess. And he's been. There's real questions about whether or not he's available to play for them, and that's just. It's just so there's a lot of unknowns. So I think when the point spreads are irrelevant from that standpoint, because it all depends if you're the gambler, like what day you're making that bet is all that ever matters. But I think still people have no idea. It's like I think. If we knew Michael Penix was playing and we knew Adrian Martinez was playing for Nebraska, the line would have been set on Monday and it would have never moved. It's like, but now nobody knows. Like one day, well, maybe he's going to play. One day, maybe this guy's not. It's just bouncing back and forth that way. And it's like, it's just, it's not going to matter. It's gonna come down to whoever's playing in the fourth quarter anyway, and it's all going to get, determined by one play or another. And there's no expert in the world, no matter how much money they have in their wallet. Can make a bet and know for sure what's going to happen.
One thing that has impressed me about this Indiana team this year is we were both up at East Lansing and watched them play Michigan State tooth and nail down to the end on the road in front of 70,000. We saw them go on the road last week and get a Big Ten road win at Maryland. They play on the road with little fear, especially for a team that is immature as this one is. 80 of the 113 players are underclassmen. That hasn't seemed to matter. And when I've talked to them, and when you've talked to them, it doesn't. The road thing, they seem to embrace that.
Exactly. I mean, I think they like the idea of going and silencing crowds. I think it's a huge thing for them, and I think a lot of it is what I think. When we look, especially going back to Michigan State, and I think the great analogy can be made between that game and this game, because obviously going into Michigan State, we had no idea whether Michael Penix was going to play or not. But I think the players knew that he was. And so when they got up there, they had a whole lot of confidence that they could beat that Michigan State team. And Michael played great that game. I mean, Indiana's offense scored 31 points. They were right there. And the offense certainly played well enough to win that game. And they had all sorts of confidence. And the thing that's amazing about this Indiana team to me is these young kids, especially, they grew up in programs playing high school football where they won all the time anyway. So now they're here. They don't know any different. These young kids, they fully expect to win a game when they go out there to play. And that's a wonderful attitude to have. And obviously, do they still make mistakes? Sure. But I think they are very, very confident group. And I think when they go to Lincoln tomorrow, they fully expect to win. And, that's the biggest difference in Indiana football right now to me, is that they go places expecting to win.
Absolutely. And the fact that they've done this with a two-quarterback system that is not at all intended to be a two-quarterback system is amazing to me. And we've seen this throughout the country this year. So many teams have had a quarterback go down. Indiana is so lucky to have a Peyton Ramsey who has not only played extensively, but he's been a starter. He's a leader for this team, and he's maintained that leadership on and off the starting field. Whether it's on the sideline or wherever, he's been a consummate teammate for this program.
Absolutely, and it's a great credit to him. He talked about it a little bit Saturday night after the game, and then talked about it at greater length on Monday. Is that when he, it's been really hard for him to lose his starting job, and he's had to deal with it. But the best line he says is, "I wasn't going to walk away from my guys." It's like those players in that locker room, they mean so much to him, and I think he knew, though he lost his starting job, that there was going to be a time when this team needed him, and they've needed him a lot, and obviously the Ohio State game that he had to start, he freely admits he did not play well, and I think Indiana sort of underestimated how awesome Ohio State was, and they got blown out. But other than that, Peyton Ramsey has played very, very well when he's been in there. He had a great game against Connecticut, completed, 88% of his passes or whatever that crazy number was. And I thought he really played well at Maryland last week too. He was very poised, and mostly, the best compliment anyone can give him is he knew the playbook like the back of his hand. I mean, every check that he needed to make, he did. Every audible he needed to make, he did. Every read option, he made the right decisions. And he made some throws. I still say, the touchdown drive right before halftime, after Maryland had taken the lead, Indiana came back down and scored with 24 seconds to go in the second quarter. I think that's a season-defining drive by Peyton Ramsey because, if Indiana goes in the locker room behind, maybe that whole negative attitude, reemerges. But instead, they went down and scored, and Nick Westbrook made an incredible catch, and they had that lead, and they never gave it up, and that was a huge difference. So, Peyton Ramsey is an above-average college quarterback, and he played well. And Indiana, if he has to answer the call on Saturday, he needs to play well again. And I think all of his teammates have full faith and confidence in him to do that.
Absolutely. So as we head down, it's going to be game time tomorrow afternoon. Indiana at 3:30, taking on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I see Indiana winning this game, and of course we had this discussion off air. I don't think it's going to come down to the quarterback because both teams are down one. But I think Indiana has the advantage because they got Peyton Ramsey, who's been a former starter. But I think it's going to come down to Indiana's defense. If they can get the job done in stopping Nebraska, which they have not had a great offensive output this year, I think Indiana clearly is going to win this game.
Well, I would like to think so, too. I mean, Indiana's defense continues to improve, but, they're playing so many young guys that every once in a while they just get in situations where they see something new that they haven't seen before, and they make a mistake, and, like Maryland, hit them with a few big, 3 plays of 40 yards or longer, a 61-yarder and a 50-yarder and a 40-yarder. It was like, a third of their offense. The rest of the night they held them up. They held up pretty well. And it's, I think it's a group that keeps getting better every week. And and it's like the swagger that these young guys have. It's like, if someone's making a mistake, if a junior or senior is making a mistake, then put the freshman in, and the freshman will make plays, and that's what's happening. And and I think they have dialed up the pressure, which has helped a lot. They did a lot of that against Maryland. They were all over, Tyrell Pegram, Maryland's quarterback, and really forced him into a lot of bad throws and forced him just to take off, and they kept him in check. And I think, playing two sort of similar offenses in back-to-back weeks really makes it easier to prepare for one, but that confidence level of Indiana's defense, I think, is at a high mark right now, and I think they know that they can go to Nebraska and keep this team in check.
I think I got these numbers off of something you put out, but Nebraska's defense is 10th in the Big Ten. They're 13th in the rushing defense. They give up 5.9 yards an attempt. Their edge defensive capabilities are not that great. I think this is going to be a big week. I know you said you think 150 yards for Stevie Scott.
That's my guess. And yes, you got those numbers from a story I wrote earlier, this week, on SI.com, and that's exactly right. I mean, other than Rutgers, Nebraska's defense right now is the worst defense in the Big Ten. And it's like, and here comes this Indiana offense that's, basically, second or third or fourth in just about every offensive category in the Big Ten. I mean, this is an offense that's been, rolling up 500-plus yards every single week lately, and been running it well, throwing it well, doing it, basically staying turnover-free for the most part, when they have, just about every time they made a turnover, the defense has held up, where they didn't, points off turnovers have been very, very low for this team all year, which is good. So, I mean, I think all that's there. I do think Stevie Scott's going to have a big, huge game, and and I think their ability to attack like that will definitely make a difference.
The one feeling I'm getting, I had a reporter segment yesterday. Sean Callahan was on from Husker Online. I could tell we know this is a big game for Indiana for a lot of obvious reasons. This is a huge game for Nebraska. They can't afford to lose this game to a program that does not have the cachet as far as being a football prodigy. They're not this big time program, but Indiana is a team that is probably going to be the favorite to actually win this game. But this was going to be a huge hit to Nebraska's psyche.
Sure, because when they hired Scott Frost last year, they hired him to fix a mess. And they got off to a horrible start, but they played relatively well the last half of the season, and they came into this year thinking year two would be a year they would get better. They've had a ton of injuries, which every program goes through, but still they've had a bunch, but they're also just not there yet. I think a lot of people in Nebraska have learned that the talent level at their school is just nowhere near where it's been. And Scott Frost is a very good coach and has a great reputation, and I think he'll probably have that Nebraska program looking pretty good a year or two down the road. But right now they're just not there, and and they are 4-3 right now. When you look at their schedule, they don't have 2 or 3 guaranteed wins left on their schedule. It's like the idea of Nebraska not going to a bowl game, a second and third year in a row, that's just not something they go through. Nebraska fired Bo Pelini because he only won 9 games, and it's like, and here they are, trying to get to 6, it's just not Nebraska football, and it's so yes, they consider this an absolute, in Lincoln, this is an absolute must win for them. They cannot afford to lose to Indiana, but that's the Big Ten right now. It's just there's a lot of teams in the middle of the pack, and there's not much that separates them, and there's quite frankly, there's not much that separates Indiana and Nebraska either, which is amazing. But I mean, I think even we've talked about, I think Indiana has that edge.
Absolutely. Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated Indiana, thank you, sir. I look forward to seeing you out in Lincoln, Nebraska as the Hoosiers take on the Huskers this weekend.
I'm excited about it, Jim. Really looking forward to my first trip to Lincoln. It's going to be great.
We're back with all that and more right after this.
Got what I got the hard way, and I'll make it better each and every day.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Thursday, October 24th. Can't believe it's already Thursday this week, but we're very fortunate. We got one of our favorites, man, one of our good friends of the show, Tom Coverdale, former Hoosier basketball player, on the show with us right now. Tommy, how are you, man?
I'm doing fantastic. How's everything going?
I cannot complain. I hope it's been a good summer. Tom's got a pair of 2-year-old twins, keeping him busy, him and his wife, Rachel. How was the summer with the kids gone?
Oh, it's been fantastic. They turned 3 in December, so, life is busy, but it is a lot of fun because it's a fun age where you can do a lot more with them. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then they can do a lot more to terrorize you, too.
Exactly.
As we get forward, man, I saw there was a great article in the paper on Tom a few days ago, and today Tom's going to be speaking at SACOA, an organization that deals with Alzheimer's. You had a personal dealing with that almost a decade ago. Your mother passed away after being diagnosed with that while you were going to college. That had to be a really difficult time for you.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you never really know anything about the disease until it happens to your family. But she got diagnosed kind of right before my senior year of college, and she was only 55 years old with Alzheimer's. So, she got early onset, and I think a lot of people think of that disease and think, my grandmother or my grandfather had that. You think about people later in life getting that, but it can definitely happen at a younger age like it did to our family, and it definitely takes a toll on a family, that's for sure.
You're going to be speaking out at the SACOA event today, and having gone through that as a younger age, did you get a lot more that you can pass on, I guess, things that you had to deal with? I mean, man, you're in college, you're a kid, basically. I can only imagine. Yeah, we're still here. That had to be a tough thing to deal with, even more so because you're younger, you're in college, you're going through a lot, man. Have you been able to put those thoughts together? You're going to be sharing those today at the SACOA event.
Well, it's definitely a difficult time to go through that, but I think for any family member, it doesn't matter what your age is, it's just trying to register what's going to happen, what you're going to go through as a family, and what your loved one's going to go through. So definitely as a 22, 23-year-old kid, you're definitely trying to process everything, and then you're playing the season, and you're kind of in the best time of your life in college, and trying to enjoy that at the same time. So it's definitely a lot of emotions to go through as a young kid, but it's a lot of emotions to go through as a family as well.
Yeah, you have a couple of siblings, and then your dad. I mean, that had to be obviously extraordinarily rough for everybody, but your dad's got kids and all that as well. Man, I can only imagine the turmoil that must bring.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did. I think my dad did a great job of kind of getting us together, and we definitely, as soon as we found out the news, got together as a family and met with a professional because we didn't know what to expect from the disease. And I think that's the best thing a family can do when they're facing something that they don't know a lot about, is to ask for help. And when I've got 2 older brothers and my dad, you have 4 alpha males that think they know everything. You know how that is.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's hard to ask for help, and we got together and kind of learned what to expect and went from there. So I give credit to my dad for that.
Very good. And how did your family come together and rally around this particular disease? And once you learned what it was, and because it's not like dealing with a broken leg or something like that. It's a lot more intense as far as the family needing to help and do things like that. It had to be an incredible experience as a family unit.
Yeah, it definitely was. I'm lucky enough to have a really close family anyway, so. We just kind of got together and realized, first we wanted to do everything we could to make my mom as comfortable as possible. And a lot of that with dementia and mental diseases is making her feel as comfortable as possible. And the biggest thing for a family, I think, is just making as many memories as you can while you have them. So we tried to do that as a family. We tried to, laugh with her as much as possible and do everything we could to, just get as many memories as we could before we lost her. I think that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, when you have a caregiver like my dad you literally, with that disease, you are taking care of 2 lives, and that is very, very taxing for anybody that's ever had to do that. So we also took turns trying to take care of my dad, even if it's taking him out to dinner with just us, so he can take kind of a mental break for a couple hours to just get away and have normal conversation and stuff like that. So I think there's kind of 2 aspects of it. That disease is hard on the person, but it's really hard on the caregiver especially.
Yeah, I think that people lose sight of that a lot. What a great point to bring up. And it's ironic that Coach Knight also has, from what I understand, possibly been diagnosed with this as well. Been going through some issues over the last couple of years, publicized, and he's been out around. And we've seen him it seems like he's out making visits to guys, visiting people, and getting around. Have you had any connection with Coach Knight here in the last couple of years?
No, I haven't, but I have heard a little bit about what he's going through, and that's definitely devastating to hear. And that just kind of shows it can happen to anybody. You know what I mean? With as sharp of a basketball, and probably one of the best basketball minds you'll ever see, this disease can take the best of minds, that's for sure. So, but no, I've not had contact with him.
And then, as speaking of Coach Knight and IU, we're getting closer to basketball season. We're just a few weeks away from exhibition game, and I can't believe basketball's already back, Tom.
I know, it feels like we just started football season, right? But it's definitely exciting, and I think I think the team's going to be a lot better than people think. I was kind of laughing when I saw they picked Indiana to finish 10th in the Big Ten, and I think they'll be a lot better than that. But time will tell.
Yeah, most people have not been kind to where they think Indiana is going to end up. A little surprising, somewhat. I think part of that is based on what Archie's done in the last couple of years, that the people are thinking that. But they seem to have pieces in place. They don't have a superstar, but you all were a team. You did have Jared Jeffries and yourself, but you guys didn't. Did you feel that your team had a superstar on it?
I think that all depends on how the superstar acts, and I don't know how it was last year with Romy or anything, so I can't speak to that, but I can speak to how ours acted, and Jared Jeffries, it did not feel like we had a superstar on our team just because of how he acted and practiced. I mean, he was so athletic and could win every sprint, and everybody knew it, and he would win every single sprint in preseason. He'd win every sprint in practice, and he played just as hard as everyone else, and I think that's important. And whenever you have your star player doing that, it carries down and makes every single player better. So I think it did not feel like it did with us. Even though Jared was definitely a star basketball player, he didn't treat himself and act like he was one, and that's what made our team so great, and that's hard for young kids to do.
And as of right now, I don't know that this particular team even has a superstar. They seem to have a group of collective players that are equally good as the other is. I don't know that they really have that quote unquote superstar. Can that be helpful for a team sometimes to not have that guy, to have everyone more on equal footing?
Yeah, I think it can from a team standpoint, just because your playing time can go either way, and plus it's just going to be so competitive for who's going to play the minutes. But I also think it can help a coaching staff if you look at the other way. You can hold people accountable, which from a coaching standpoint, I think you should hold people accountable whether they're an all-star or not, but it's easier for a coach to hold the whole team accountable when you can sit guys and no one's really expected to start every game.
We'll see not too long as they open up the season with an exhibition game against Gannon. I think it's about a week or so away now, a week and a half away, thereabouts. Do you follow football much? I know you're busy. You got the twins. You got a job. You work all the time and a family. But you follow IU football. They're not having too bad of a season.
Yeah, I follow IU football, definitely keep up with their scores, but I'm more of a Colts fan. Me and my wife are season ticket holders to the Colts, so kind of take turns going to that, who's going to watch the Twins and who's not. And luckily for me, she's not as big a Colts fan as me, so a lot of times she's just like, get out of here and take your brother. So, no, but I definitely am fully invested in the Colts. But IU and college football, I definitely follow it, but I would say I'm more of a pro fan than college football.
The Hoosiers traveling to Lincoln, Nebraska this week, and actually, believe it or not, Tom, they are a 1.5-point favorite the last I checked over Nebraska at Nebraska. That's a little surprising.
I know. Well, when's the last time they've been one game away from being eligible for a bowl? And the last two games they've been on the road and they've been favored. You know.
Yeah.
So,
well, plus this many games left in the season, bowl eligibility on the line. It's
exactly.
Crazy.
This early in the season, I think the young quarterback is going to be really good. I know he's been injured in and out a little bit, but that just shows the kind of depth they're having when, Penix gets hurt and you can bring in a Ramsey who's already played and has experience and they keep rolling. I think they're definitely doing a good job recruiting, better than they have in the past from what I've seen.
Absolutely. And then as far as basketball goes, this is also a team that's got a lot of youth to it, a lot of that going around. Not a lot of seniors on this team, Deron Davis and Devontae Green. They got a great mixture of Trace Jackson Davis, new face with Joey Brunk. Armand Franklin, also a freshman. He had 14 points in their close scrimmage against Marquette the other day. That's got to be a reassuring feeling for Archie Miller.
Yeah, definitely. I think the young kids are definitely going to help, and I'm anxious to see, just like everybody else, how it all fits together. Not even really getting to watch them play yet, but I definitely think having a glue guy and a guy like Joey Brunk is going to help inside. A guy that's always going to be in the right position, go get every rebound that he can, and then you definitely hear nothing but good things about Jackson Davis. So. Alongside with that, another thing I'm excited about is another year removed with, Finney at point guard, another year of experience. I think he's going to have a monster year just because he plays the game the right way, has a great basketball IQ, and I think Green is definitely going to benefit from that. I've always viewed him more as a shooting guard and kind of off the ball guard where he can just concentrate on scoring and less on making decisions, and that's what Finney's strength is. So another year of that backcourt after they've already played together for a little while, I think has a potential to be one of the best in the Big Ten.
And then, of course, they've got. I forget what point I was trying to make, but you've got some fresh faces that coming in there. How hard is that for a freshman to come in to make an impact on a team at this level?
Well, it's very hard because, I equate it to, for a lot of kids, when you come, the jump from, say, 8th grade to freshman year in high school is big, but, it's just as big of a jump from high school to college when you're looking at the speed and the, take my high school, for instance, our whole starting five was 6'2", and then I go to college, and I'm basically the shortest one on my team. So you're playing against a totally different level of competition, a totally different level of height and strength, and it takes a while to adjust that, not only offensively. I think a lot of kids can, adapt to it offensively because a lot of kids are offensive-minded coming through high school. But the defensive aspect, I know for me, was the hardest, just learning every different way on how to guard basically a player that is more athletic. And in college, it's hard to adapt to the speed and the strength, like I said before, and it takes time to do that. But once the good players can adapt quickly and pick it up from there, so it's always exciting to see the freshmen and how quickly they pick it up and how well they get in, especially the second half of their freshman season.
You've got to be pretty happy with Jacoby Brissett, the job he's done at quarterback for the Colts, man. A lot of people they thought the sky was falling when Andrew Luck retired at the beginning of the season. But the Colts, they're, I'd have to say, exceeding expectations maybe?
Oh, 100%. So I finally get a vacation with my wife and another couple, no kids. Okay, we go to Jamaica. The first night we're there, is when Andrew Luck, announces his retirement. So talk about ruining the first night of your vacation, first of all.
I'm sure your wife was happy about that.
Yeah, I'm talking to my friend who was with us on vacation. I was like, at first reaction, I think I had every reaction of the Colts, like the season's over, this, that, or whatever. And then it gets to about midway through the week, and he's a Bears fan. And I'm like, look, the good thing is Brissett, everybody on that team loves him. So they still have a chance to maybe be 8-8. And he's like, you are out of your mind. So, but as you got into the season, and I think it shows on, the defense is finally coming around to where we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year. They struggled a little bit early, had some injuries, but I think they are definitely turning around. And you can't ask for more from Brissett. I mean, being a leader, and he takes care of the ball just as well as any other quarterback. And we put up 14 touchdowns already, something like that. So he is definitely not a weak point of our organization, and that's saying a lot when you lose a guy like Luck a couple weeks before the season.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Indiana football a little bit with Peyton Ramsey coming in for the injured Michael Penix. But, man, they're not missing a beat, and the team is rallying around. It says a lot about the Colts, that team, that they can just not miss a beat because the quarterback in the NFL level it may be bigger than any other position in pro sports, I think, as far as the importance to a team. And the fact that they haven't missed a beat and they have just rallied around it and just won, that's pretty amazing at that level.
It is, and I think it speaks to Ballard more than anything. I mean, how many fans were out there, and I was one of them, when Luck was doing so well. It's like, why are we not trading Brissett and trying to get something for him, because Luck is going to be here. And if he gets hurt, we're done anyway. And obviously that's why he's the general manager and us as fans are not.
That's the one. They got to get that job done. But Tom, I can't thank you enough, man. I know you got to get off and speak at the Sokoa today. I can't thank you enough. We greatly appreciate you. Love having you on anytime. Look forward to it now the basketball season's on. We'll get you back on again soon.
All right. Sounds good. Anytime. I appreciate you having me on, and have a great day.
You bet. Tell your wife and the kids we said hello. Thank you, and have a great day as well. Hey, we got more coming up from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Back with more right after this.
I can live forever without so desire.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Ryan Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, joined now by our good friend Steve Aird, the head coach for Indiana volleyball. Coach, how's it going, man?
Good. Weary, a little travel weary. We've been on the road the last 3 matches. Awesome to be at home. Excited to be back at home.
Big part of the season, man. You guys got a big chunk of games coming up, especially this Friday night. Tonight, you've got Nebraska, one of the top teams in the country, number 5 in the country, one of the best teams in the Big Ten. Of course, the Big Ten, the toughest league that there is. But yet again, here comes a tough match for you guys.
Yeah, exceptional team. Final Four quality last year, lost in the national final. Just an exceptional group of young kids, well coached, deserving of the ranking, and excited to play good teams at home.
When it comes to this sport, volleyball, what is the difference maker between these teams? I mean, both D1, but Nebraska, obviously, their program has been on the rise for quite a while. They've been up there. You're trying to get this program up to that level. What's the difference between those kind of programs?
I just think some of it is depth. Some of it is, obviously recruiting goes a long way. In the conference, you get a lot of kids. I mean, there's only 14 teams in the conference, right? So there's a lot of kids in the country who want to play in the Big Ten. And there's tremendous recruiting battles within the programs about the top kids. And Nebraska, for the last many years now, has had really good recruiting classes and fantastic talent. So I think part of it is recruiting great talent and then developing the talent once you get it. It's a storied program, a legendary program. So, you tip your cap.
And I find that very ironic because if I think volleyball just from a neophyte like myself, I don't think of Nebraska as being this volleyball hub, but yet here they are in the middle of the country, out in the middle of nowhere, but a volleyball power.
Yeah, and always has been. I mean, they've been in national finals back, when I was a pup, and they've had All-Americans for years, and the state loves it. They support it at a really high level. I think John Cook, who's the head coach, has done a great job of continuing the tradition of excellence and recruiting great and selling out, doing incredible job of getting the support there. So yeah, it's a volleyball state. They do a great job in that state. I think the high school programs, the club programs are excellent, and it's obviously one of the best places in the country to play.
Speaking of support, tonight you guys play out at Wilkinson Hall at home against Nebraska. We talked about support is key for every sport, especially volleyball. You want to pack the house, I know.
Yeah, and we, currently we're 18th in the country in attendance. And I think when you look at that, that's something I'm really proud of. It's come from 500 or 600 people at a match at the old U gym to, we'll have a sellout Friday night. And that's something when you talk about the metrics of building a program and taking the next step as a program, you want people to be excited. You want the students to be excited. So, we're doing a lot of really good things across the board, but 18th in the country in attendance out of 340-something schools is a great step forward for Indiana volleyball.
Have you seen that support manifest itself into the team and whatever success that they've had? Can you see that work it into their mental approach?
Well, I think it matters. Because when we travel, we play at Wisconsin or Minnesota. It's sold-out crowds. It's hard to play there. This is becoming a harder and harder place to play. Not only is the team getting better, I think, but the crowds are getting better. And it's a little heavier to play here. The crowd gets a little loud when they need to, and the student section's getting better. It's a process, but I'm excited about where it's going. 18 months, 20 months into the job, I'm really excited about where it's going.
Nebraska, number 5 in the country, we've talked about tonight coming in. What makes it difficult playing against the Cornhuskers?
They're just heavy. I'm a hockey guy, so the term is they're heavy on you. They serve the ball really well. They pass the ball really well. They're very well coached and disciplined. You have to really work hard to get points against them, and they don't give you very many opportunities or free points. They don't make a lot of errors. The best teams don't make a lot of errors. So they're low error, very disciplined, very good serving, very good passing, and that's a great recipe to have a great team.
You guys got to back that up with another game on Sunday against Iowa, another Big Ten conference game. How difficult is it to a game against Nebraska, which is going to be emotionally taxing, draining? It's going to be tough. You're playing against a great opponent. Mm-hmm. Then 2 days later, you got to come right back and play again.
Yeah, and I think it's the nature of it. If we play back-to-back nights and we do it a lot, it's if men's basketball in Indiana had to play Duke on Friday night and North Carolina on Saturday, people would say this is the craziest thing ever. But we do it all the time, and then we do it all the time on the road, where you'll play someone on a Friday. We'll play at Penn State on a Friday night and play Rutgers on Saturday night. 2 different towns, 2 different cities. Travel late nights, so it's really demanding on the kids, and it's a grind. But it also sets you up at the end of the year if you're fortunate enough to make the tournament. You play back-to-back nights in the tournament. You've got to be able to reload emotionally and physically and be ready to go. And it's something that the conference has been great at for years, is developing teams that are just tough, understand how to do it, and do it at a high level.
How much conference play do you have left before the tournament comes in?
12 matches right now. I think we're 12-9, 12-8, 12-9 on the season. Had a great preseason, as you know, and just kind of ran into a brick wall in conference. We played 4 or 5 ranked teams, 3 or 4 of them on the road. And we just need to get back off the snide a little bit and get a win and get our confidence going. And we're playing some pretty good volleyball at times. It's about consistency. If we can get over 500, we've got a great win against Kentucky. Obviously, I think we got 6 or 7 top 100 wins right now. We've taken a lot of steps forward. We're just not a top 15 team. We're not a top 10 team yet. So that's the next big step. That'll happen over time, and that's the next goal.
Playing in the Big Ten, you can't control the schedule, and it's going to be tough no matter what. And
right.
It has been tough. How hard is it to keep the team's mental approach up when you have to play such a formidable schedule?
I just think it's honesty. It's like I told them, I didn't come to rebuild a program and think it was a magic light switch. You can't microwave it. It's a baking process. It takes time, takes years, but we're developing really good habits. Kids are training. They're coming early. They're staying late. They're eating film. They're doing all the things that you need elite programs to do. And I think if I look at the pillars of the stuff about the program that I really needed to become better, I think in 18 months I'm thrilled. The staff's doing a great job. Kids are working hard. They're playing really hard. There's no quitting them. So that's the best part. As we have a huge challenge Friday. We're excited about it. We respect them a lot, but we're not fearful. We got to play, and that's fun.
How important is it for the people to show up tomorrow night, the fans to get there Friday and Sunday? Do you guys have any specials? You guys are always doing some great stuff.
Yeah, we have a massive, tomorrow night's or tonight's match, depending, it's against Nebraska, is on national TV. So the Big Ten's carrying at 8 o'clock start. Huge tailgate for the students beforehand. Lots of giveaways at the match. Lots of stuff for the kids. We're expecting it to be sold out, so I would get there early. Nebraska travel's great. Very, very good travel. So we expect a whole bunch of Nebraska fans. What we'd want is, for our guys to show up and the community and the students and everyone involved in the state to step up and help us out and make it a really good home court experience. And that's I think it's becoming a really fun event. I mean, we've had some matches here where people left, win or loss. They just really love coming and hanging out and enjoying their time.
And then with Nebraska traveling well, that's got to create an electric environment in here tomorrow night.
Yeah, and it will be. I mean, there's some programs in the Big Ten that travel, and they travel really well. We're going to get there in time. I think the better the program gets, the more we reach out and touch the community. And when we get into, when we go to an Illinois or go to a Northwestern or play at Purdue, like we're going to in a week or so, we want people to show up and represent and give them a good reason to cheer and be proud of what we're building.
Individually, any of the players that have stood out this year that you didn't expect to be at the level they're at right now?
I think for us, Brianna Edwards had a really big summer. We asked her to do a lot, especially with Kendall Bierman. We're working her back in and trying to get her some time, but she's been really, really solid the whole way. We've had a couple freshmen play at a high level. I think our libero, Haley Armstrong's had a great year. Emily Fitzner, I think, is a fantastic young player. She's going to be doing great things for a long time. Like Haley's 5th or 6th in the conference in digs, which is outstanding as a freshman. Emily Fitzner is the only freshman setter playing in the Big Ten right now. So the 13 other teams, no one's playing a freshman, a true freshman. So the experience she's gathering, it's a lot like a freshman point guard. It's, there's going to be some bumps and lumps in the road, but she's developing and just a great human being, man. They're playing hard.
And Edwards has been leaf level on the edges. She has been a killer.
Yeah, she's a physical kid. She really is honing her skills. She's got a great role model in Krista. Spends a lot of time with her, and Krista was as good as it gets at that position. So, she's got a lot of other chapters we're going to get to, and it's going to take some time, but she's come a long way. We're proud of her.
Well, Coach, thank you very much. Make sure you show up tonight out of Wilkinson Hall. Friday night match against Nebraska. Then on Sunday, you come back against Iowa. The best of luck.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate everybody joining us on the program today. Great week. We'll hopefully finish up with a big win for Indiana this Saturday. We'll get back to you on Monday and let you know how that turned out. But for Jake, this is Jim Coyle. Until the next time, I will see you on the radio.